Today I want to show you how to grow a really great beginner microgreen, one that I actually really still enjoy as well, and your chefs or your clients will also really enjoy it. So we're going to grow curled cress. Super easy. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it every step along the way. We're going to start off with a 10 by 20 tray that's got a tray with holes in it and a tray without holes. They've been sanitized and cleaned up. Even when you wash and sanitize, sometimes you'll still see some residue in there. Don't worry about it. You know, if you bleached it or used hydrogen peroxide or whatever, it's still clean. So I'm going to use some Pro Mix BX soil. And I'm going to use 3 scoops of a Frosted Flakes bowl. The brand of your cereal bowl is not important. I'm just going to spread that all out. If clumps in your soil become an issue, it's a great idea to screen it over like a 1/4 inch mesh screen into a bucket, and that really helps out a lot. I haven't been growing a ton of microgreens lately. A lot of my restaurants have slowed down, so usually a bag of Pro Mix, you don't really have to screen it because it's already pretty fine, but the longer it sits around, it will start to kind of clump up on you a little bit. But it's not a big deal. Just going to kind of pack that down a little bit. I'm going to bring this over to my my faucet and just kind of water it in. I'll water it in fairly heavy. Alright, so this is all watered in. I always water my trays pretty heavy. I don't typically have to mist or anything while it's covered up or nothing like that. I don't usually have to pick up the tray and mist, or if I stack the trays, I usually don't have to mist in between, you know, during days between it being stacked before I put it in the light. I will do that though sometimes with something like sunflower. If I plant it dry, I will mist those every day just to make sure that they all germinate, and it seems to make a big difference. When I do it that way, it's just as good as if I would have pre-soaked them. So now we've got our cress. It's just curled cress seed from True Leaf Market. Link in the description if you'd like to buy it through my affiliate link. If not, check it out anywhere. It's a pretty inexpensive seed. I can't remember what I paid for it. I bought it by the pound and it lasts a really long time. I've got this just tablespoon fancy measuring device, and I'm going to take about 1.5 tablespoons, and I'm going to just evenly coat this all over the soil. Now, cress is a little bit like basil in a way when it germinates. You don't really want the seeds all piled up. You want to keep them as even as possible because they will stick to each other. And if they stick to each other, they will come up on top of the sprouts themselves, and it's just a mess. They usually do pop off eventually, but then you have to grow a little bit longer than maybe you really wanted to. So make a nice even spread of the seed. So I'm going to go about 1.5 tablespoons. Just trying to keep it nice and even. That looks about perfect right there. See if I can give you a bit better view of what a perfect spread looks like. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just put them in a humidity dome. So I take a tray without holes and I just put it over the top, and this will just go on my rack, and it will only be there for about 2 to 3 days before I take this off and just put them straight under lights. There's a lot of things about cress to really like. For a grower standpoint, they're super easy. This is all you have to do. they're super, super fast. So, like I said, 2 to 3 days tops, you take this tray off and you'll put them right under lights. The other great thing is they're done in about 5 to 6 days, but you can definitely grow them much longer than that if you want to. You could go up to 14 days and not have an issue. I've never grown them too long, so I don't know what happens if you start growing them really long, but it's pretty awesome that if you find yourself in a pinch where you're going to be short on crop and you want to have something you can bring to your customers, Cress is a great one that if you know you have a 5-6 day window to get something planted and get it out, Cress is a great one to do that with. I'm going to go put this on my rack, and I'm going to bring out a tray that I planted just 5 or 6 days ago. I think it was 5 days, but I'm going to err on the side of caution and tell you it was 6. Look at these beautiful greens. So like I said, we're going to go with these were planted 6 days ago. You can see they're really nice and even. They're not all clumped up. You don't see seeds stuck to the top of them. Everybody wants to plant too dense. They want to get as much in one container as they can possibly grow, and it's not beneficial. It does not help you as the person who's going to be harvesting that later, or trying to figure out what are you going to do with all the seeds that are stuck to the top of it. So that's my method for growing these. One thing to keep in mind when growing cress is, even though this is a nice, lush, full tray, there's not a lot in here for weight. So I would say this is probably about 4 ounces of cress, maybe 5 ounces of cress, but I'll probably only put it in two containers and call them 2 ounces each, even though they're maybe 2.5 ounces each. So you're not going to get a large harvest. I personally charge $5 an ounce for this stuff for small quantities, which is all I've ever been requested. No one's ever asked for a pound of cress, but that's my price. Just so you guys know, people ask all the time, but I'm in New England. My prices may not translate to what your prices should be. Mine are actually probably even considered high for where I am, but my customers are really low volume, so I can't justify bringing 4 packages of microgreens to somebody and get $15 for that. That just doesn't make any sense. So that's why my prices are the way they are. So this tray here, you're probably noticing it's different. This isn't a 10 by 20 tray. The 10 by 20 tray I just showed you, that would be closer to 6 to 7 ounces of cress when you're all done. These are trays I get from one of my clients that they get their seafood products in, and I just reuse them as microgreen trays, and they work fantastic. The only thing is I have to water on ones that you don't want to water above, which cress is one you don't want to water above, is I have to water just kind of like in the corners with my faucet, and that way I can kind of flood underneath the soil or across it and not pack down all the cress. So if you've never had curled cress before, I hope that you give it a shot. I hope that this video shows just how easy it is. I know I didn't show all the different, taking the germination cover off, humidity dome and all that, but trust me, 2 to 3 days, that's it. You take it off, put it under the lights. 5 to 6 days later, this is what you get. So if you did enjoy this and you found it informative, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, click the little bell, you'll get notifications anytime I make a video. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. I just enjoy making the videos and sharing what I learn with you guys. Thanks for watching.